think as far as education is concerned, I have a hard time thinking that you can invest too much money in education. To a certain extent, I think if somebody says, well, we don't want to spend too much money on education, or we spent too much money on education last year, it's a little bit like somebody saying, well, geez, I invested too much money last year, I should have spent it all. I put too much money in my IRA, or putting money into education, at least as far as the eye can see, is hard to do. It's an investment in the future. As far as taking care of the working class is concerned, three very important things. One, we didn't get into tax too much, but under our current tax system, if you're making, let's say, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year and living off your capital gains and dividends, you're paying substantially less than if you're making $30,000 to $100,000 of taxable income. Most Republican members of Congress cannot afford to vote Republican. Unless you're making more than $300,000 a year, or you're living off of capital gains and dividends, or you're about to inherit more than $4 million from mommy and daddy, you cannot afford to vote Republican. The shift of wealth from the middle class to working class to the very wealthy under the Republicans for the last 20-some years, ever since Reagan and the '81 Tax Act I talked about, has been huge. We got to get back about to where it was under the '93 Tax Act with Clinton. That was about right. Second, and a lot of people won't understand that. You just got to explain it to them that's the way it is, that the Republicans have been screwing the middle class, and it is. Secondly, especially when we talk about the 6th District, there's so many people driving so much, getting the price of oil down, providing transportation through sustainable energy cheaper than oil, gas, or coal is going to be hugely important. And then thirdly, shifting from the horse and buggy of oil, gas, and coal to the automobile of sustainable energy will produce a huge amount of jobs for the working class. And we'll have the money to do it because that $1 billion a day that we're sending out of the country for oil won't be going out of the country. It will be staying here. So I'd say, well, those are three reasons. There's a fourth that I was thinking was a third, and that's to make sure that the middle class, the working class, has health care so that they don't have to be paying that out of their after-tax pocket. Michelle Bachmann will get middle-class, working-class people excited about wedge issues such as guns while they're picking their pocket. But I think it's very important that we enforce our trade agreements, that we get trade agreements that require that the people producing goods that we allow to be imported have fair labor standards there and environmental standards. It's pretty difficult to enforce with the Republican administration. So I think we need to do two things: make our trade agreements and our import rules more stiff regarding environmental issues, and then enforce them. My attitude is, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. This is something that we need to, as a society now, provide. People going without health care, without health insurance, just isn't the way it should be. If it takes money out of my pocket,